Well, good morning out there, everybody. This is MrNutt. I'm riding solo today. I hope that's not too bad for some of the Mrs. Nutt fans out there. Today I am riding through the beautiful little town of Skiatook, Oklahoma, headed west towards the lake and around to Cleveland. And while I'm on that ride, I'm going to talk a little bit about my 2019 CVO Streetglide, why I prefer Harley-Davidson over other brands, and maybe even talk a little bit of trash about other brands when it comes to design, which I feel is my expertise. But let's get this ride started as we ride through town. Gonna roll the intro. Okay, so like I was saying, it's getting really rare, especially to record, for me to ride solo. As you know, we have my wife's nephews in our custody right now, trying to help them out while their parents go through some things the past 7 months, and it's changed our lifestyle a lot, so we're not able to get out together and ride every last time we want. Whew, it says 98. It's a little warm here in northeast Oklahoma. And one of the things I want to talk about today was my 2019 CVO Streetglide. A CVO Streetglide was my very first touring motorcycle. It was my very first bike with a fairing and a windshield. My very first bike with a windshield, period. Most of my young life, and even when I first started riding again as I got older, I really liked the open air feeling, and I never saw myself as a bagger person. I never saw myself as a windshield person. I really like the feel of the wind on me. That said, I am 58 years old, and as I get older, I can see the wisdom, and it does take a little bit of the beating out of riding to have this fairing. It's really nice to have the radio. Being that I have become a geek since my early 30s and become very technology oriented, having Apple CarPlay, I can't even describe how much I enjoy that. So I'm not giving up my bagger. So on the 2019 CVO, one of the reasons I want to do the video on this bike this morning is because I am sitting right now on 14,925 miles. I've had the bike a little over 12 months. And I'm about ready to hit 15,000 miles on the bike, and I gotta tell you, I love everything about this motorcycle. It may be the bike that I now ride the least. It's probably been the bike that I've ridden the least in the last 6 months. It's pulled out for long rides more than it's pulled out for anything. So this bike is pretty much mechanically, it's a stage 1, and I'm running the Harley Davidson Screamin Eagle. It's one of the extreme air cleaners. It's not. It's of course not the Ventilator Extreme. But I'll put it in the description. It's one that they came out with in 2019. Maybe if I can find some pictures, I'll put it up. I really like the air cleaner, but I am fast learning that Harley-Davidson Screamin Eagle air cleaners are not the most efficient and not the most effective power-wise. As I decide what I'm going to do with this bike up into the higher power modes here in the next year, I'm going to have to make a decision about that air cleaner. I love it because it's low profile, it fits in the same footprint as the stock one, but anyway. As far as mechanical upgrades in the stage 1, I went with the FuelMoto, their Jackpot 1-into-2 header. The reason I went with the FuelMoto Jackpot is A, it's stainless steel, it's a 3-step design. I'm learning how important that is to exhaust efficiency and in widening the power band as far as, you know, flattening your torque line and bringing on horsepower a little bit sooner. So I went with the Jackpot for the third reason, because it allows me to keep my stock heat shields. And I'm a huge fan. When I go to CVO, the CVOs all have a very unique heat shield on the exhaust compared to your Streetglides and Streetglide specials. This is a black chrome look, and I really love it. It's a very glossy chrome black heat shield. Love the heat shields on this bike. I love the blacked out look of this bike. It's one of the reasons why I chose the Black Forest of the color line, is because it was the blacked out edition of the CVO. The bike runs really, really well. I'm sure it's not any kind of record breaker on horsepower. It's not any monster out of the gate. But the fact is, it goes down the highway, it runs extremely well. So this bike, we're sitting close to 15,000 miles, and you know, I'm just so happy with the bike. I'm so happy with the motorcycle and the way that it's served me, the trips that it's taken, and the way that it's handled the highways. Reliability, I've had absolutely zero mechanical issues with this bike. The only issues I've had with any of our CVOs have been aesthetic. And because they're CVOs, if they were Streetglide specials, I might not worry about it. Because they're CVOs, I'm kind of a picky bitch on all of my aesthetic stuff. This panel here on the dash has lacked good adhesive from the factory. The gauge bezels have had little problems. I've had 3 speakers replaced on this system. I'll probably change out to a good aftermarket speaker as soon as my warranty's up. But I believe Harley's running way too much power into these speakers. I'm running 300 watts per channel, 150 watts per speaker, 6 speakers, 900 watt sound system. And I do love my music, especially when I'm riding without a helmet. When I'm riding with a helmet, I don't play it so much, and on these videos I don't play it for obvious reasons of licensing. But man, I do. One of the reasons I loved this bike was it came right out of the gate with a 900 watt sound system, and when it's rolling, it sounds really good. Yes, it can be improved with some really good aftermarket speakers. No, I don't think it's worth doing that like as an immediate upgrade. So at 15,000 miles, this bike just is better. Ever since I did the stage 1 kit, the second you do the stage 1 kit, in my opinion, and you start just freeing up a little bit of horsepower and a little bit of torque, the bike feels lighter handling. It's a little lighter on the throttle response is better. I am running the Harley-Davidson street tuner, and I'm also running the Harley-Davidson auto tuner on this bike. And I can't tell you if that's made a huge difference or not. Since I also run an auto tuner, I run the Target Tune from Power Vision on the Beast. I can't tell you again, this bike has never had a problem mechanically. It's been incredible. It ran out, it wore out the tires at about 12,500. I replaced them mid 12,000s. I do ride the bike year round, so I have not winterized it and taken it out of winterization. I did do an extra oil change on it as it came out of the slow riding winter season into the riding season this year. But other than that, again, just not unhappy with the bike at all. So I don't know how much time I've been on this, a few minutes. I want to see if I can get in just a little bit of time as to why I choose Harley-Davidson. So I've always loved Harleys. Now, I don't know if this story's staying on track or not. I've always been a fan of Harleys. I've always loved Harleys. I never really knew exactly why. And I think that's the case with a lot of people out there. I think there are a lot of people out there that absolutely love Harley-Davidson. They can't really put a finger on why. People who don't like Harley-Davidson, people who don't love Harley-Davidson, people who hate Harley-Davidson, they miss the mark as to why we love it. They think, the same reason they think that people love their iPhones. They miss the mark on just how pleasing it is to the eye. And if you ride big cruiser, touring, bagger, performance, sports motorcycles, sports bagger motorcycles, pretty much anything above a metric sports bike or adventure bike, I believe you have a personality, or you have a desire for a certain aesthetic preference. And to me, Harley-Davidson makes that aesthetic preference the focal point of the design. And what I mean by that is when you look at a Harley-Davidson, you'll notice that the path to the engine, even on the live wire, is unobstructed. That the engine itself and all of the components that service the engine, from the air cleaner, spark plug wires, every aspect of that engine compartment is the focal point of Harley's design culture. It's what they intend to do. It is their center focus on everything that they do. And in my opinion, when it comes to this style of motorcycle, that's the key. That's something that cannot be sidestepped. It's something that you can't ignore. So when Harley builds their bikes, there's a lot of little parts on the engine and in that compartment that cannot be covered with a plastic facade. They're in the open. They're part of the visual perception of the motorcycle. And they have to use detail in both the design so that it aesthetically kind of goes with the rest of the engine compartment and that V-twin, and also so that it looks finished. It is more than just painting the tank, painting the fenders, and bolting a bunch of plastic across a bunch of shit. They are literally detailing out that engine compartment. And I believe that that is a key psychological design component to this style of motorcycle and the basic belief system desires of the people who want to ride these types of motorcycles. So from that point, what Harley's doing is understanding the culture that it has traditionally purchased a motorcycle. We are a personalization crowd, and that's one of the things that I try and focus on. It's one of my loves. It's the focus of my company, is we want to work with those brands of transportation that allow you to customize and personalize your transportation. I believe that that is a dying culture in the United States. When I was a kid, that was the culture in the United States. That was everything in the United States. And it's been dying. I've got a lot of reasons why I believe why, but that's a different conversation. At any rate, the reason why I won't buy an Indian, the reason why you'll never see on this channel, you'll never see me test ride an Indian, or even a Triumph, or any of those bikes. This design culture, the design culture coming from Harley-Davidson's design department, fits me. It hits my buttons as to what I think the bike should look like. Now from there, I look at every model Harley builds as a template, and I don't know that a lot of people have gotten this yet, but they build a general template that'll take to the road, people can ride and enjoy. It's a medium performance motorcycle. MrNutt loves her CVO. Her CVO mechanically is completely stock, and she's never lagged behind me. She's never hurt for performance. She doesn't feel the bike is weak or that it could use more. She loves the bike stock. We're probably going to do some tweaking on it just because I do think she'll love it more, but that's kind of a husband-wife thing, and maybe a male-woman thing, man-woman thing. But anyway, so the reason you'll never see me do that is because when I look at the bikes, I've got nothing to start with. But understand why I love Harleys. It's not because I hate Indian. It's because I hate sloppy, weak, decentralized, or defocused, unfocused. I don't like design that doesn't come from a really good design culture. So it is all about how I feel on that bike, and I believe that that's what this sport, this hobby, this lifestyle is about. This lifestyle is about how it makes you feel about your machine. And if you and I have different tastes, who gives a fuck? I mean, seriously, who cares? Love what you ride. Whatever you ride, if you love it, fucking A, ride it. If you don't love it, but you love to ride and that's all you can afford, ride it, enjoy it, love it. I don't like hate. And that's where my vitriol for Indian kind of, if I still got time, I don't know how the hell I'm going to cut this, but if I still got time to get back to the Challenger, from the second that bike hit the market, it was just ugly. The fairing, in my opinion, looks like it was designed by 5 different people to accommodate 5 or 6 senior designers in that fairing. There's no way one person designed that fairing. Not possible. Matter of fact, I would say the same people that designed that fairing did not design the Batwing fairing, again, which I just don't like the shape of. Not a fan of a lot of the little aesthetic things on it. On the Chieftain, or the Indian Chief, or whatever the Batwing bike is that they have. So, you know, looking at the fairing on the Challenger is just a dead, I'm done. I can't get on that bike. It's not me. I won't test ride it. I won't recommend it. I could ride it. It could be the best performing stock motorcycle ever. One of the things I would hate is if I ever got the best performing stock motorcycle ever, I couldn't or wouldn't be incentivized to customize it. And I'm sorry, I love making my bike my bike. So for that reason, and for the reasons I just described, on this channel, on my page, within my company, this is the brand we work with. This is our heart. And there's a lot of reasons why that this is the brand that has our heart, and this is the brand that we love. And that's what it is. So, I really appreciate you watching this. I'm hoping that I can make this video shorter than 46 minutes, which is where we're at now. I'm at 14,971 miles, 29 miles to matter of fact, let me do this really quick. Give me directions home. So, another thing that I really love is I sign off talking to Siri through the bike, getting my map put up. Really simple. If you like this video, like, subscribe. If you don't like this video, don't unlike, man. That's just rude. Leave your comments on our Facebook page, leave our comments on our YouTube channel. Wherever you watch this video, leave your comments. I hope that you'll stick with us as we grow this channel. We are doing our best to grow it as organically as possible and build a really good, natural, solid audience that wants to love things the way that we love them. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Safe travels. Keep your 2 wheels down. For those of you going to Sturgis, enjoy yourselves. I'm out.